This happened a year ago. From 2013 to 2015, I worked night shift security at an RV resort. I was on my way to work one night when my front driver's side tyre blew out on a long, narrow dirt road. It was around 10:30 p.m, so it was pretty dark. I live in a very secluded area in upstate Florida, and this road was not near any neighborhoods and had only a few streetlights. My shift started at 11, so I called the manager and told her that I might be a little late because I had to change the tire. After I got that squared away, I pulled out my car jack and started to position it underneath my Ranger. I was about to start cranking it away when I saw the dim glow of some golf cart headlights approaching me from down the street, in the direction I just came from. The golf cart stopped behind my truck. I stood up from where I was crouching and said, "Hey there, one of my tires just blew out. You wouldn't mind giving me a hand, would you? I'm kinda running late for work." The person on the golf cart did not respond, and then I heard them getting out of the golf cart. The person then stood within the headlights of their own golf cart. The light was dim, so it was kinda hard to see, but he looked like a middle-aged man, with no shirt on, so I could clearly see his beer gut. He also had hairy legs, and I could see that something was dangling underneath his massive stomach. Turns out, he was completely naked. That's something I could have lived my entire life without seeing. The man seemed to be holding something in his hands. I only caught a quick look at the object. All dick jokes aside, the thing that this guy was holding looked like a machete. The man didn't say a word as he started to slowly walk towards me. I quickly jumped back in my truck, started it up and noped the hell out of there. I didn't have time to grab my car jack, so I left it behind. My truck was lopsided from the deflated tire, and it awkwardly excelled forward. I could see in my interior mirror that the headlights of the golf cart were close behind me. Despite my truck having a flat tire, it was still going at decent speed, and so was the golf cart that was tailing me. So in a split-second decision, I slammed the brakes of my Ranger, and not even a second later, I heard and felt the golf cart smash into my rear end. I then floored it and got away. I managed to get to work on time. I explained everything to the manager and the cops were called. They searched the road but found no signs of the guy or his golf cart. But they did find my car jack, which was returned to me. Other than a few minor dents, the back of my truck didn't look bad at all. I'm sure that golf cart had it 10 times worse. He had to be going full speed when he crashed into me. I'm surprised he was able to drive it away after that. I've come to the conclusion that this weirdo was on a serious meth high, because that area has that kind of reputation. I no longer own that truck or work at that site anymore. So creepy, bare-ass, overweight, machete-wielding psychopath, for the love of God, put on some pants and let's never meet again. My family were driving on a rural main road in Poland, and next to our car was this truck delivering large concrete pipes. We drove next to this truck for maybe an hour, maybe 2. I was a teenager, so I didn't really care. My dad figures we stop at the next gas station for a quick toilet break. As I exit the car, a pair of bikes drive past the gas station. I noticed because it was loud as shit. PP over and we're back on the road. About a mile or so down the road, there's an accident. The bikes had caught up with the truck, and as they were about to drive past it, the large concrete pipes fell off the truck and smushed the bikers. Maybe they weren't fastened properly, or the truck swerved. I'm not sure, but they were dead. Blood everywhere. I still have a hard time thinking of what could have happened if we didn't stop at that gas station. I grew up on the countryside, right next to a national park frequently visited by nature lovers and bird enthusiasts. It was the kind of park where you're not really allowed to ride bikes or horses, only walk or run. But 10-year-old me felt it was a stupid rule and did so anyway, because the trails were perfect for it. I knew fully well that I wasn't supposed to do that, and I was caught a few times, but nothing much came of it, apart from a half-hearted "don't do it again." And I did, of course, until one day, something frightening happened that made me stop. My family were horse breeders, and I would often take one of the horses for a ride, usually in the Forbidden Park. This day, very early morning, the first day of summer holiday, it was beautiful outdoors. Misty and foggy, yet a sky that promised a sunny day ahead. Since it was so early, before 6 o'clock, I knew there wouldn't be anyone on the trail to see me, so I let the horse set off at full speed along the trail. I only slowed down on the part of the trail that got steep on one side, leading down to the river, because the thought of one step too close to the edge was too much even for a kid with next to non-existing risk assessment skills. Suddenly, the horse came to a halt and refused to take another step. I grew up with horses all my life, and I knew that usually indicates that you need to investigate. Is there something wrong with the hooves? Did the horse spot something that spooked it? The hooves were fine, but the horse didn't move an inch. That's when I saw it. Someone had set up a trap. A thin, sharp metal wire across the trail, in perfect neck height for an adult. I stopped and looked around, but didn't see anyone. The wire was well attached to two trees and impossible for me to remove. I, as silently as I could, and with my heart in my throat, backed away, got up on my horse and hurried back the way I came, as fast as I could. I knew I had to tell someone about it, but at the same time, wanted to avoid admitting to riding a huge and very forbidden horse on those protected trails. So now I had a problem. There are stories about an old madman living in the shed in the woods, a shed that was once a cottage for a local hunter. This came back to me as I hung onto the horse for dear life. I got home and told my older brother what had happened, and he went back there with me in the tow. We found the wire trap, and after a while of searching, we also found a spear-like pole in the ground, right on the spot where you'd land if you came running and jumped over the fallen tree on the trail. That's when we called the police. The area was searched and several similar traps found, but no sign of anyone else. The following summer though, there were big news in the local paper about spear-like poles being found right under the water's surface, directly under that little tower you're supposed to dive from at the lake, and black garbage bags filled with large rocks were found on the narrow bridge crossing the river, so that if a car hit it, risk is it would have gone off the road and into the water.